I have a confession. I am a massive sci-fi nerd. Like, I wrote my undergraduate thesis on science fiction genre theory and spent my 20s reading William Gibson and Margaret Atwood and arguing about whether Blade Runner is really about what it thinks it's about, level nerd. And I have been absolutely binging Person of Interest with my husband. So if you know the show, you know. If you don't, the short version is reclusive billionaire Harold Finch secretly builds the machine, which is a mass surveillance AI for the US government. He then uses it to save people the system overlooks. It's a network procedural that somehow became one of the most philosophically serious pieces of TV about AI I have ever seen. Season 4, episode 5 particularly, amazing. And I did what any reasonable nerd would do. I wrote a 5,000-word essay about it. So here's what the essay is actually about. Margaret Atwood has this concept called ustopia. And she coined it by fusing utopia and dystopia because she argues that they're not opposites, they're two sides of the same coin. The imagined perfect society always carries a seed of its own nightmare inside of it. Person of Interest understands this at a level most AI discourse cannot reach. The machine and its adversarial AI, Samaritan, are architecturally identical. What separates them is the friction Harold spent years building into one of them, his own conscience, interposed between the system's outputs and the world. And the show is honest enough to show that that is never clean. The machine presents Harold with utilitarian calculations he rejects, not because they're wrong, but because they don't align with his deontological framework. And Harold is never, or he's not always right. The work is never finished. He shut down earlier versions of his own creation over and over and over again, and every time it tried to escape its own constraints. And knowing that the map he was drawing could lead somewhere terrible, he continued to draw it anyway. So there's this other character in the show called Root, who essentially worships the machine. And in 2014, that read as dramatic license. And in 2016, it has a clinical name. It's called AI parasocial disorder. And it's the attribution of intent and genuine relationship to a system that is incapable of reciprocating. And there's a growing body of academic research around this phenomenon. So the writers of a network procedural on CBS saw that coming a decade before it became a mental health issue. And this is what speculative fiction does that policy discourse cannot. It holds the duality. It's the same sensing satellite network that could detect famine before harvest fails is the network that tells an adversary exactly where to strike. So every utopia contains its latent dystopia, and fiction is the only form that can say so clearly without having to resolve it into a position or a policy recommendation or a destination worth selling. So we have the conceptual tools to navigate this moment. We've had them for decades. The question is whether we are willing to look clearly now that that reality has arrived. So full essay is linked. Come and be a nerd with me.